When I knocked on that hotel balcony door at 10:10 p.m. and watched Ryan's wife see them through the glass. Candles lit, champagne glasses raised, my wife in a red dress I'd never seen before. The look of pure devastation on her face almost made me feel guilty. Almost. Welcome to Cheating Story Exposed. Real stories, real justice, no sugarcoating. You know what? I notice many of you watching haven't hit that subscribe button yet. Here's the thing, we drop stories like this every single day. Stories about people who got played, got smart, and got even. If you want to see how these situations really end, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. My name is Cameron Mitchell. I'm 41 years old, a senior project manager at a construction firm, and until 4 months ago I thought I had a solid marriage. 15 years with the same woman. No kids, we'd been trying for years without success, which had put strain on things, sure, but I never imagined it would lead here. My wife's name is Adriana. She's 38, works in corporate event planning at a tech company downtown. Beautiful woman always has been. The kind of person who lights up a room when she walks in, who knows exactly what to say to make clients feel special. That charisma, that ability to read people and make them feel seen, it's what made her so good at her job. It's also what made her such an effective liar. The first hint came on a Tuesday evening in late June. I'd come home early from a site inspection that had wrapped up ahead of schedule. Our house was in the suburbs, a nice 4-bedroom place we'd bought 7 years back when we still thought we'd fill those extra rooms with kids. I walked in around 4:30, expecting an empty house since Adriana usually didn't get home until 6. Her car was in the garage. I found her in our home office, laptop open, video call active. She was laughing at something, that genuine laugh she used to give. When I appeared in the doorway, she jumped slightly, then immediately composed herself. "Hey babe, you're home early," she said, voice perfectly casual. She clicked something on her screen. "Just wrapping up a vendor call." But I'd seen the screen for a split second before she clicked. It wasn't a vendor call interface, it was FaceTime, and the name at the top had been Ryan K. "How was the inspection?" she asked, standing up and closing the laptop. "Fine, finished early. Who's Ryan K.?" The briefest hesitation, less than a second, but I caught it. "Ryan Kowalski, he's the new coordinator for the tech events. We're planning the summer conference." She walked over and kissed my cheek. "I'm starving, want to order Thai?" I let it go. At that moment, I genuinely thought I was being paranoid. Adriana had male colleagues. She video called with work people all the time. The fact that I'd never heard her mention Ryan Kowalski before didn't necessarily mean anything. But that night, lying in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling. The way she jumped, the speed of that laptop closing, the FaceTime instead of Zoom or Teams, which her company normally used for work calls. I did what any suspicious husband in 2024 does. I checked her social media. Adriana's Instagram was mostly private, shared only with friends and family. I scrolled through her recent posts. Pictures of us at dinner 2 weeks ago. A sunset photo from our backyard. A repost of some motivational quote about women supporting women. Then I clicked on her tagged photos. Third one down was from an account called Ryan_Kowalski_official. Posted 3 days ago. A group photo from what looked like an office happy hour. Adriana was in the back row, laughing, her hand on the shoulder of a guy I didn't recognize. Tall, probably mid-30s, dark hair styled with too much product, wearing an expensive-looking watch. The caption, "Best team in the business." I clicked on Ryan's profile. Public account. Full of gym selfies, car photos. He drove a BMW M4 and pictures from what looked like a very active social life. Restaurants, bars, weekend trips. And in several of those photos, going back about 6 weeks, Adriana appeared at a rooftop bar with the work crew, at someone's birthday party, at what Ryan's caption called a surprise team celebration. I'd heard about exactly 0 of these events, not the jealous type, never have been. 15 years together, I'd never checked her phone, never demanded to know where she was. We had trust, or I thought we did, but lying there in the dark, listening to her breathe beside me, I felt something cold settle in my chest. The next morning, I paid attention. Adriana was on her phone at breakfast, smiling at something, typing quickly. When I asked what was funny, she said her sister had sent a meme. She showed me her screen. It was indeed a meme from her sister. But I'd seen her swipe away from another conversation first. "I've got that site meeting in Riverside today," I said. "Probably won't be home until 8 or 9. "Oh, okay, I might go to the gym after work then." "Sounds good." I didn't have a meeting in Riverside. I had a meeting in Riverside scheduled for the following week, but Adriana had never been great with my work calendar. I wanted to see what she'd do with a free evening. I went to work, attended my actual meetings, and at 6 p.m. I parked down the street from our house where I could see the driveway. At 6:40, Adriana's car pulled out. She was dressed nicely, not in gym clothes. She headed downtown. I followed at a safe distance. I felt ridiculous doing it, like a character in a bad TV movie. But that cold feeling in my chest had grown. She parked in the lot of an upscale Italian restaurant called Marcello's. I watched from across the street as she walked to the entrance. 2 minutes later, Ryan Kowalski pulled up in his BMW. He met her at the door. They didn't hug. Didn't kiss, but the way he touched her lower back as they walked inside made my hands tighten on the steering wheel. I sat there for 90 minutes. When they came out, they stood by her car talking, laughing. He leaned against her car door, blocking her from getting in, clearly not wanting the night to end. She was smiling up at him, her body language open, receptive. Then he kissed her, not a peck on the cheek. A full kiss, his hand on her waist, her hand on his chest. It lasted maybe 5 seconds. When they pulled apart, she was still smiling. I watched her drive away. I watched him get in his BMW, check his hair in the rearview mirror, and drive off. Then I sat in my truck in that parking lot and made a decision. I didn't confront her, not that night. When I got home at 9:30, she was on the couch in yoga pants and a t-shirt, watching a cooking show. "How was the gym?" I asked. "Good. Did a full hour on the elliptical. How was Riverside?" "Productive." We went to bed like normal. She fell asleep quickly. I stared at the ceiling until 3 a.m. Here's what I knew about myself at 41 years old. I was good at planning. It's what made me successful in construction management. You don't just react to problems, you anticipate them. You gather information, you build contingencies, you execute methodically. I wasn't going to blow up at Adriana and give her the chance to gaslight me or trickle-truth me. I wasn't going to confront Ryan and get fed some story about how it was just a work friendship that got out of hand. I was going to document everything, understand the full scope of the betrayal, and then I was going to make my move. The next day, I called my buddy Derek, who does private investigation work. We'd gone to college together, stayed in touch over the years. "I need to know if my wife is having an affair," I told him over coffee. Derek didn't try to talk me out of it or suggest couples therapy. He just nodded and pulled out a notepad. "How long you been suspicious?" "Found out yesterday for sure, saw them kiss. But I think it's been going on at least 6 weeks, maybe longer." "You want surveillance?" "I want everything, where they meet, how often, if they're being physical. I want hotel receipts if they exist. I want to know if this is emotional or if they're sleeping together. I want to know if he's married." "That's a full package. It'll run you about $3,000 for 2 weeks of comprehensive work." "Do it." Derek worked fast. Within 3 days, he had Ryan's background. 36 years old, divorced 2 years ago, worked as a senior event coordinator at Adriana's company. He'd started there 4 months earlier, transferred from the Chicago office. Good at his job, well-liked, known for being charming and ambitious, and he had a girlfriend. Her name was Chelsea Brennan, 29, worked in pharmaceutical sales. They'd been together for 8 months. She lived in an apartment complex about 3 miles from Ryan's condo. "So he's cheating on his girlfriend with my wife," I said. "Looks that way. And based on the surveillance, they're getting sloppy. Met for drinks Tuesday night, coffee Wednesday morning before work, lunch Thursday. Always lots of touching, laughing. Wednesday night they were at his place for 4 hours. I've got photos of her arriving at 7 p.m. and leaving at 11. I looked at the photos Derek had spread across my dining room table. Adriana walking into Ryan's building. Adriana leaving, hair slightly messed up, satisfied smile on her face. "How do you want to proceed?" Derek asked. "Keep watching. I want at least 2 more weeks of documentation." Over the next 3 weeks, the pattern became clear. They were seeing each other 3 to 4 times per week. Sometimes lunch, sometimes after work, sometimes they'd meet at his place. Adriana started working late more often, started having more events and client dinners that I wasn't invited to, and she started lying with increasing ease. Girls' night with Amanda and Lee was drinks with Ryan. Late meeting with a vendor was dinner with Ryan. Sister needs help with something was 4 hours at Ryan's condo. I documented every lie. Every time she said she was somewhere and was actually with him, I noted it. At home, our relationship stayed surface-level normal. We had dinner together, watched TV, went through the motions. Our sex life, which had already been declining, essentially stopped. She always had an excuse. Tired from work, not feeling well, stressed about a project. Meanwhile, based on Derek's surveillance, she was having plenty of sex with Ryan. By early August, I had a full picture. Adriana and Ryan were in a full-blown affair. Physical, emotional, constant. They texted throughout the day. Derek had managed to pull cell records that showed hundreds of texts per week. They were clearly in love, or at least in lust. What they weren't doing was being particularly careful. That's when I started thinking about the endgame. I could confront Adriana directly, show her the evidence, file for divorce. Clean, simple, done. But that felt too easy, too private. Adriana wasn't just betraying me. She was making a fool of me while I supported her, while I came home every night thinking we were working through a rough patch. And Ryan, smug Ryan with his BMW and his styled hair and his public Instagram documenting his perfect life. He was helping her do it. Then there was Chelsea, Ryan's girlfriend, who based on her own Instagram seemed like a sweet person. Lots of posts about her nieces and nephews, her rescue dog, her work in medical sales. She had no idea her boyfriend was spending half his week with a married woman. I wanted them all to know. I wanted the exposure to be public enough that they couldn't minimize it or spin it. That's when the idea started forming. In mid-August, Derek called me with an update. They're getting bolder. Just booked. Hotel room at the Grandview Resort for next Friday night. Used Ryan's credit card, reservation under his name. Room 214, king bed, balcony view. The Grandview, I knew that place. Upscale hotel about 40 minutes outside the city, popular with couples looking for romantic weekends. Beautiful views, private balconies, overpriced room service. What's Adriana telling you she's doing that night? Derek asked. I pulled up our shared calendar. Sister's bachelorette party weekend. Supposed to leave Friday after work, back Sunday morning. Her sister wasn't engaged. Here's the interesting part, Derek continued. The room right next to theirs, 216, is available. Same setup, balconies right next to each other, separated by a decorative privacy screen, but you can see through the gaps. An idea clicked into place. Book it, I said. Book room 216 for Friday night under my name. What are you thinking? I'm thinking I'm going to document their romantic weekend. And then I'm going to make sure the right people see that documentation. Derek was quiet for a moment. You want to catch them in the act. Not just catch them. I want evidence that's so clear, so undeniable that there's no way for them to explain it away. Photos, video, the whole thing, and I want Chelsea to know what her boyfriend's really doing. This could get messy. It's already messy. I'm just making sure everyone knows it. Over the next week, I refined the plan. I'd check into the Grandview Friday evening, right around the time they did. I'd set up cameras with a view of their balcony. I'd document their romantic weekend while they thought they were completely private. And then when I had everything I needed, I'd make my move. But as Friday approached, I realized something. Catching them wasn't enough. I wanted confrontation. I wanted to see their faces when they realized they'd been caught. I wanted them to understand that their secret wasn't secret, that their little love affair had consequences. That's when I thought of Chelsea. I found her on Instagram easily enough. Her profile was public, full of cheerful posts and stories. Wednesday, she posted a story of her and Ryan at dinner, some new sushi place downtown. The caption, date night with my favorite person. She had no idea. Thursday evening, I created a burner Instagram account with no profile picture, no posts, generic username. I followed Chelsea. Then I sent her a direct message. Hi, Chelsea. You don't know me, but I have information about Ryan that I think you should know. He's been seeing someone else for months. I have proof. If you want to know the truth, let me know. She didn't respond that night. I didn't really expect her to. If I got a message like that from a stranger, I'd probably think it was spam or someone trying to start drama, but Friday morning she replied, Who is this? What kind of proof? I'd rather not say who I am yet, but the proof is extensive. Photos, dates, times, locations. Ryan is having an affair with a married woman from his work. Her name is Adriana Mitchell. I can show you evidence if you're willing to meet. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Why should I believe you? Because I'm Adriana's husband, and I've been documenting this for a month. Check Ryan's credit card statement. There's a charge for the Grandview Resort for tonight, room 214. He told you he was doing something else, didn't he? The 3 dots stayed for a long time. He said he has a work conference in San Diego this weekend. He's spending the weekend with my wife in a hotel 40 minutes from here. If you want proof, meet me at the Grandview tonight at 10 p.m. Lobby bar, I'll show you everything. How do I know this isn't some kind of scam? Look up Adriana Mitchell on Instagram. Look at Ryan's tagged photos. You'll see her in several of them. Then decide if you want to know the truth. She didn't respond. Again, I didn't know if she'd show up. But I'd planted the seed. Friday afternoon, I left work early. I packed an overnight bag with cameras, a laptop, binoculars, and a change of clothes. I checked my phone obsessively. Adriana had texted me at 2 p.m. saying she was leaving work early to head to her sister's bachelorette weekend. She'd see me Sunday, love me. I texted back a heart emoji. At 4:30, Derek texted me. They just checked into the Grandview. Saw them go into room 214. They were all over each other in the hallway. On my way, I arrived at the Grandview at 5:15. The hotel was beautiful, all modern architecture and carefully maintained landscaping. I checked in at the front desk, paid in cash, and took my key to room 216. The room was exactly as advertised. King bed, upscale furnishings, and a private balcony with a view of the hills. I stepped out onto the balcony and looked right. The decorative privacy screen between the two balconies was made of decorative metal with a leaf pattern. Plenty of gaps to see through. I could hear them, music playing softly, Adriana's laugh, the sound of a champagne cork popping. I set up my camera on a tripod, angled it toward the gap in the privacy screen. Then I waited. At 6:30, they came out onto their balcony. Adriana was wearing a red dress I'd never seen, form-fitting, elegant. Her hair was down, makeup perfect. Ryan was in dark jeans and a white button-down, sleeves rolled up. They brought out champagne glasses and a bottle of wine. I started recording. They sat at their little balcony table, talking and laughing. I could hear pieces of their conversation through the screen. "This is perfect," Adriana said. "Just us, no interruptions." "No interruptions," Ryan agreed. He reached across the table and took her hand. "I want to talk about something serious." "Okay." "I want you to leave him. I want us to stop hiding." "I'm falling in love with you, Adriana. My wife." Was quiet for a moment, then she smiled. "I'm already in love with you. I have been for weeks." They kissed across the table. I kept recording. "What about Chelsea?" Adriana asked. "I'm ending things with her next week. She was just something comfortable before I met you. But you're what I want. This is what I want." More kissing, more declarations of love, more champagne. At 7:30, they went back inside. I could hear but couldn't see what happened next. I didn't need to see. I had enough footage of them on the balcony, clearly romantic, clearly in love, clearly having an affair. At 8 p.m., I grabbed my phone and checked Instagram. Chelsea had viewed my message but hadn't responded. Then at 8:45, she replied. "I'm coming. I looked at the photos. I need to see your proof. Lobby bar at 10. I'll be wearing a navy jacket." "How will I know it's you?" "I'll know it's you. I've seen your Instagram." At 9:30, I left my room and went down to the lobby bar. I found a table in the corner with a good view of the entrance. I ordered a whiskey and pulled out my laptop. Chelsea arrived at exactly 10 p.m. She was shorter than I expected, maybe 5'4", with blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. She was wearing jeans and a sweatshirt like she'd thrown on whatever was nearby when she decided to come. Her face was tight with anxiety. I waved her over. She approached slowly like she wasn't sure this was a good idea. "Cameron?" she asked quietly. "Sit down." "Can I get you a drink?" "No, I need to see what you have." I turned my laptop toward her. "I've been documenting this for a month. These are from the last 3 weeks. I showed her the photos Derek had taken, Adriana and Ryan at restaurants, going into his condo, leaving hours later, the timestamps, the dates, the locations. Chelsea's face went pale. "There's more," I said quietly. "They're here right now, room 214. I have video of them on there. Balcony from earlier tonight. Do you want to see it?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. I played the video, Adriana in her red dress, Ryan in his white shirt, the champagne, the hand-holding, the declarations of love. Ryan saying he wanted her to leave me, saying he was ending things with Chelsea next week. When the video finished, Chelsea had tears running down her face. "I'm sorry," I said. "I know this is brutal, but I thought you deserved to know." "How long?" she whispered. "At least 3 months, maybe longer." They worked together. It probably started as emotional and escalated. She wiped her eyes roughly. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to confront them. I'm going to make sure Adriana knows I know everything, and then I'm filing for divorce." Chelsea stared at the laptop screen at the paused image of Ryan holding my wife's hand. "He told me he loved me," she said. 2 weeks ago, he said he could see a future with me. He's a liar. They both are." She was quiet for a long moment. When she looked up at me, something in her expression had changed. The hurt was still there, but underneath it was anger. "I want to confront him," she said. "Right now." Been thinking about this since I invited her. The original plan was to show her the evidence, let her process it, and then make my move separately. But having her here, having Ryan's girlfriend and Adriana's husband both ready to blow up their fantasy weekend, that was better. "They're in room 214, I said. "I'm in 216 right next door. They have a balcony, so do I. What are you suggesting?" "They think they're alone and private. What if they weren't?" Understanding dawned on Chelsea's face. We took the elevator up together, not speaking. The hallway was quiet, elegant lighting casting soft shadows. We stopped outside room 214. I could hear music playing inside, muffled voices. "Here's what I'm thinking," I said quietly. "My room has a balcony right to theirs. There's a privacy screen between them, but we can see through it, and we can access their balcony from mine if we're careful. Right now, they're probably in bed or getting ready for bed. What if we showed up on their balcony? What if we knocked on their glass door while they're in the middle of their romantic evening?" Chelsea's eyes widened. "You want to catch them completely off guard. I want them to understand what exposure feels like. I want them to know that their secret is out in the most undeniable way possible. What if they're in the middle of something? Then they're in the middle of something when they get caught. Seems appropriate." Chelsea thought about it for maybe 5 seconds. Then she nodded. "Let's do it." We went into my room. I could hear them next door, voices and laughter. I led Chelsea out onto my balcony. The privacy screen was about 6 feet tall, decorative metal that went from the floor to just above head height. Through the gaps, I could see their balcony. The lights were on inside their room, curtains open. I could see movement through the glass door. "We can climb over," I whispered. "It's not high, we just need to be quiet." Chelsea kicked off her shoes. I did the same. Carefully, quietly, I climbed up and over the privacy screen. It was sturdy enough, meant more for decoration than actual privacy. I dropped down onto their balcony as silently as possible. Chelsea followed, and I helped her down. We were standing on Ryan and Adriana's private balcony. Through the glass door, we could see into their room. They were on the bed. Adriana was in a silk robe. Ryan was shirtless. They were kissing, his hand in her hair. The scene was intimate, romantic, exactly what you'd expect from two people in love. I looked at Chelsea. Her face was hard, jaw set. "Ready?" I whispered. She nodded. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. 10:09 p.m. At exactly 10:10 p.m., I knocked on their glass balcony door. The effect was instantaneous. They jerked apart. Ryan's head whipped toward the door. Adriana sat up, confusion on her face. Then they saw us. I will never forget the look on Adriana's face. Pure shock, then recognition, then absolute horror. Her hand flew to her mouth. Ryan scrambled off the bed, eyes wide. "What the—" I slid their balcony door open. They hadn't locked it. "Surprise," I said calmly. Adriana stood up, pulling her robe tighter. "Cameron, oh my God." "Cameron, what am I doing here? I'm documenting your romantic weekend. I've been documenting everything for a month, actually. Every lie, every hotel, every time you said you were somewhere else and were really with him." Ryan had found his shirt, was pulling it on with shaking hands. "You need to leave. This is our room, you can't." "Your room that you're sharing with my wife," I said. My voice was eerily calm, even to my own ears. "The wife who told me she was at her sister's bachelorette party this weekend. The sister who isn't engaged." Chelsea stepped forward. Ryan's eyes locked on her, and if possible, his face went even paler. "Chelsea," he breathed. What am I doing here?" Chelsea's voice was shaking but strong. "Cameron told me you were at a work conference in San Diego. Funny how that works. We're both being lied to." Adriana sat back down on the bed, her legs apparently giving out. "Cameron, please." "Let me explain." "Explain what?" "That you've been having an affair for months. That you've been sleeping with your coworker while I've been home thinking we were going through a rough patch. That you've been lying to my face every single day." I pulled out my phone and held it up. "I have photos, videos, documentation of every time you two met. I have footage from tonight, you on your balcony declaring love for each other. I have everything." Ryan found his voice. "You were spying on us." "I was investigating my wife's affair. Turns out she's been having one. With you, who also has a girlfriend he's been lying to. Glass houses, Ryan." Chelsea was staring at Ryan with tears streaming down her face. "You said you loved me 2 weeks ago. You said you could see a future with me." "Chelsea, Ryan started. "Don't." Chelsea's voice cracked. "I heard the video. I heard you tell her you were ending things with me next week. I was just something comfortable, right, before you found what you really wanted." Adriana had started crying. "Cameron, please. I never meant for this to happen. We connected and things happened and I didn't know how to stop it." "You didn't want to stop it," I corrected. "There's a difference. You wanted this. You chose this. Every time you lied to me, every time you snuck off to see him, every time you had sex with him and then came home and acted like everything was normal, you chose that." The room was silent except for Adriana's crying. Chelsea looked at Ryan. "We're done. Completely done. Don't call me, don't text me, don't try to explain. I want you out of my life." She turned and walked back through the balcony door into their room and out into the hallway. I heard the room door slam. I looked at Adriana. She was curled up on the bed, sobbing. Ryan stood there looking like he wanted to disappear. I'm filing for divorce on Monday, I said quietly. I have more than enough evidence of adultery. You can make this easy and agree to reasonable terms, or you can make it difficult, and I'll ensure every detail of this affair becomes part of the public record. Adriana looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. Cameron, don't, please, we can work through this. We can go to counseling. There's nothing to work through. You destroyed our marriage. You made your choice. Now you get to live with the consequences. I turned to Ryan. I'd suggest you find a new job. Because once HR hears about this, once they understand you've been having an affair with a married coworker, using company events as cover, your career at that company is finished. Ryan's face went white. You wouldn't. Watch me. I walked back out onto the balcony, climbed over the privacy screen into my own room, and left them there. Their romantic weekend was over. I packed my bag, checked out of the hotel, and drove home. It was close to midnight when I pulled into our driveway. I went inside, poured myself another whiskey, and sat in the living room in the dark. My phone started blowing up around 12:30. Text after text from Adriana. Please come back. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I made a terrible mistake. Please give me a chance to make this right. Cameron, please. I love you. I've always loved you. I didn't respond to any of them. Around 2 a.m. she called. I let it go to voicemail. She called again and again. On the fourth call, I answered. What, Adriana? Cameron, please. She was still crying, voice hoarse. Please come back. Please let me explain. There's nothing to explain. I saw everything. I know everything. It's over. Don't say that. Please don't say that. We've been together 15 years. We can fix this. You can't fix betrayal. You can't fix months of lies. You chose him. You chose to betray me, to disrespect me, to make a fool of me. That was your choice. Now I'm making mine. We're done. Where are you? Home, our home that I'll be keeping in the divorce. Cameron, I hung up. Then I blocked her number. Saturday morning, I woke up to 30 missed calls from blocked numbers and various email attempts from Adriana. I ignored all of them. Instead, I called my lawyer. Maxwell Briggs, one of the best divorce attorneys in the state. I'd already consulted with him 2 weeks earlier, but now it was time to move forward. I have everything we need, I told him. Photos, video, documentation going back months, undeniable proof of an ongoing affair. Send it all to me. I'll have divorce papers drawn up by Monday. With this level of evidence, we can push for a very favorable settlement. I want the house. I want my retirement accounts protected. She can have her car and her personal belongings, but that's it. With this evidence, that should be straightforward. Did she contribute to the house purchase? I made the down payment from my inheritance. Her name is on the deed, but I can prove the bulk of the equity is from my family money. Good. We can work with that. I spent the rest of Saturday forwarding Derek's investigation files and my own documentation to Maxwell. Every photo, every video, every detailed report of where Adriana and Ryan had met and when. Sunday morning, Adriana came home. I heard her car in the driveway around 9 a.m. She came in through the front door, eyes swollen from crying, still wearing the clothes from Friday night. Cameron, she said when she saw me sitting at the kitchen table. Thank God, we need to talk. We don't need to talk. I want you to pack your essential items and leave. You can stay with your sister or your parents or wherever you want, but you're not staying here. This is my house too. That's going to be determined in divorce court. Until then, I'm asking you to leave voluntarily. If you refuse, I'll file a restraining order based on the emotional distress your affair has caused me. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Who are you right now? I'm someone who isn't going to be manipulated or gaslit anymore. I'm someone who knows his worth. Pack your things. She started crying again. Cameron, please, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but we can fix this. I'll end things with Ryan. I'll do whatever it takes. You already ended things with Ryan. Did you think he was going to want you after his girlfriend confronted him? After his dirty laundry got aired? He's done with you, Adriana, and so am I. That's not fair. What's not fair is 15 years of loyalty and trust being thrown away because you wanted excitement with some guy from work. What's not fair is me coming home every night to a lie. Pack your things. She went upstairs. I heard her moving around, opening drawers and closets. 20 minutes later, she came down with 2 suitcases. I'll be at my parents', she said quietly. Please reconsider this. Please give me another chance. No, she left. I watched her car pull out of the driveway and disappear down the street. Then I sat in the silent house and let myself feel it. The anger, the betrayal, the hurt, but also the relief. It was over. The lying was over. The pretending was over. Monday morning, Maxwell filed the divorce papers. By noon, Adriana had been served. She called me from another number, hysterical. You actually filed for divorce. You really did it. I told you I would. Cameron, please, don't do this. I'm begging you. It's done. Your affair is over. Our marriage is over. Now we just handle the legal details. What about Ryan? What are you going to do about Ryan? Already handled. I'd sent an anonymous email to their company's HR department Sunday night. Detailed documentation of Ryan and Adriana's affair, including how they'd used company events as cover, how they'd lied about work trips and meetings. I included enough photo evidence to make it clear I wasn't making baseless accusations. By Monday afternoon, Derek informed me that both Adriana and Ryan had been called into separate meetings with HR. By Tuesday, Ryan had been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. By Wednesday, Adriana had resigned. She called me from yet another number to scream at me. You destroyed my career. They said I could resign or be fired for violating company policy. I had to resign. You destroyed your own career when you started sleeping with a coworker and lying about it. That's on you. I'll have nothing, no job, no marriage, no home. Consequences, Adriana, actions have. Consequences, you spent months lying and betraying me. Now you get to experience what that feels like. She hung up on me. I blocked that number too. Over the next few weeks, the divorce proceedings moved forward. Maxwell was right. With the level of evidence I had, Adriana's lawyer could barely mount a defense. She tried to claim the affair had been brief, that she'd been confused, that I was being vindictive by using it against her. But the documentation showed months of premeditated lies. The video of her and Ryan declaring love for each other, talking about leaving their partners, made it impossible for her to claim it was a mistake or momentary lapse. We settled out of court in November. I kept the house. My retirement account stayed intact. Adriana got her car, her personal possessions, and half of our joint savings, which wasn't much since we'd spent most of it on the house. Ryan, I heard through Derek, had moved back to Chicago after being quietly asked to leave the company. His career in our city was effectively over. Chelsea, I'd checked her Instagram once after that night, had posted a story with her and friends at a bar, smiling genuinely. The caption, "New chapter, better people." Good for her. The divorce was finalized the week before Christmas. 15 years of marriage ended with a signature on paper. My family was supportive but confused about why I'd been so ruthless about it. My mom especially thought I should have considered counseling, that throwing away 15 years was extreme. I showed her the video of Adriana and Ryan on that balcony. The declarations of love, the plans to leave their partners, the ease with which they betrayed Chelsea and me. "Oh," my mom said quietly. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." "Don't be sorry, I'm better off." And I was, by January, I'd moved on. Not romantically, I wasn't ready for that yet, but mentally, emotionally. I'd started working out more, had taken up woodworking as a hobby, was sleeping better than I had in months. The house felt more like mine now. I'd changed the furniture around, painted a few rooms, made it into a space that felt like me rather than us. Adriana tried to reach out a few times around the holidays, emails about closure and healing and forgiving each other. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. Looking back now, 4 months after that night at the Grandview, I don't regret how I handled it. Some people might think I was cruel, that exposing them so publicly, that destroying Ryan's career and Adriana's job was too far. But here's what I learned. Betrayal needs exposure. Lies need light. When someone betrays you, humiliates you, makes you question your own reality, you have every right to expose the truth. I didn't invent the affair. I didn't make Adriana lie to me for months. I didn't force Ryan to string Chelsea along while pursuing a married woman. They did that. I just made sure everyone knew about it. And if that makes me ruthless, so be it. I'm 41 years old, divorced, living in a house that's finally all mine. I sleep well at night knowing I stood up for myself, that I didn't let myself be a victim, that I took control of the situation and executed a plan. That night at 10:10 p.m., when I knocked on that balcony door and watched their faces shift from romantic bliss to absolute horror, that was worth everything. That was justice. They wanted privacy for their affair. I delivered exposure instead, and I've never felt more at peace. If you're going through something similar, here's my advice. Document everything. Don't confront until you have undeniable proof. Plan your moves carefully. And when the time comes, don't hesitate. Betrayal deserves consequences, and you deserve justice. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe for more stories like this. And remember, cheaters always think they're smarter than they are, until they're not.